Well, new tonight, a former White House strategist is calling on the Trump administration to send ICE officers to polling sites to prevent non-citizens from voting.
The comments were made Tuesday on the Steve Bannon podcast. As 10 TV's Kevin Landers explains, the idea of sending armed troops to voting locations in Ohio is getting little traction among state leaders.
When the idea of placing armed ICE agents outside polling locations made the news, we reached out to the Ohio Secretary of State's office. A spokesperson told us we don't speak on hypothetical assertions. Warnings of armed people at polling locations aren't new. It was discussed prior to the 2020 election by the group Everytown Law, a gun safety organization. When the idea resurfaced again this week, no one we spoke to saw this as a good idea.
In order to have a free and fair election, that the best possible election is the election where the most eligible voters go and vote.
We asked Ohio Speaker of the House Republican Matt Huffman about placing ICE agents outside a polling location.
I don't think it's necessary.
A spokesperson for the Franklin County Board of Elections said, quote, "We follow election law passed by the Ohio legislature and directives issued by the Ohio Secretary of State. Even if armed ICE agents did appear outside polling locations, Ohio law doesn't specifically prohibit carrying firearms at polling locations except in school zones. It does prohibit carrying concealed firearms in any building that is a government facility that includes one that is owned or leased by the government or political subdivision. It also prohibits observers at polling locations from carrying firearms. Common Cause Ohio says the very presence of ICE at a voting location acts as a chilling effect for voters.
If you were to put masked, armed, very threatening people at polling places, that would be very intimidating. No matter who you are, I would be intimidated going to vote. If you go to the polls and you're black or you're brown or English isn't your first language, that is no indication of whether or not you're allowed to vote. What determines if you're allowed to vote is if you're a citizen.
Attempts to intimidate anybody who is trying to vote is a felony in the state of Ohio. Reporting from the Franklin County Board of Elections, Kevin Landers, 10 TV News.